sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be diving deep into, well, money, but not just any money. We're looking at the idea of money, like actually having a conscience.
Money with morals.
Exactly. I know it sounds a little out there, right? But we're exploring this thought experiment based on this excerpt we found called If Money Had Sense. And it really makes you think about, like, the power of money and the impact it has on, well, everything.
It really does. I mean, just imagine the possibilities, right?
Right. So to kick things off, the excerpt kind of throws out this really wild statistic. It says that, get this, just 1% of the world's population controls, like, over half of all the wealth.
Yeah, that's a pretty staggering thought when you really stop and consider it.
It is. And the excerpt really emphasizes how that concentration of wealth, it gives that tiny percentage of people so much influence, right? Like their decisions about where to put their money, even just their spending habits. It all has this massive ripple effect.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. The investments they make or don't make, the organizations they choose to support, it all impacts millions, even billions of lives. And the excerpt doesn't shy away from the negative side of this either. There are definitely some darker aspects to how that power can be used.
Oh, yeah, totally. The excerpt talks about how, unfortunately, that same power can be used to, exploit workers or damage the environment, basically putting profit ahead of everything else.
Yeah. And they even have this one example about a mining company that basically ended up contaminating a whole community's water supply just because they were trying to cut costs and boost profits. Pretty disheartening.
It is. It's a good reminder that money doesn't automatically equal good. So that's where this whole money with a conscience thing comes in, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if money could actually, make moral decisions.
Right. Like, what if money itself could say, nope, I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to support anything harmful.
I love that. It'd be like money refusing to fund that new oil pipeline because it's bad for the planet.
Exactly. The excerpt suggests that if money could prioritize ethical choices, we'd see a huge shift. Like, imagine all that capital flowing into things like renewable energy or businesses that treat their workers fairly and initiatives that actually benefit society.
That's a really hopeful image.
It is.
Right.
But, the excerpt also acknowledges that it's not always so simple. Like, defining what's truly ethical can get really complicated. Who gets to decide that?
That's a good point. It's like, you can't just program a moral code into every dollar bill. It's a much deeper issue than that. It's really about the choices people make, the individuals and organizations who actually control the money.
Yeah, it's a big question, right? Like, if we can't just, magically give money a conscience, then what? How do we make sure it's used for good? Does the excerpt offer any ideas?
It does. It actually brings up this concept of stewardship. It's basically this idea that people who have wealth, they have this moral obligation to use it responsibly. Like, it's not just about, personal gain. It's about using those resources to make a positive impact. Okay, I like that, stewardship. So, what does that look like in real life? Does the excerpt give any examples?
It does. For instance, it mentions this whole movement of conscious capitalism. It's basically where businesses, they actually prioritize social and environmental goals, alongside profit. It's not just about making money.
Okay, yeah. I've heard of that. So what they're trying to do good while also, staying profitable.
Exactly. Like, the excerpt talks about this one clothing company. They're really committed to sourcing their materials ethically, making sure their workers are treated fairly and paid a living wage, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's awesome. I actually, I've been trying to be more conscious about where I buy my clothes from too. It's not always easy, but It feels good to support companies that are trying to do the right thing,
Absolutely. And the excerpt also talks about impact investing. Have you heard about that?
I'm not sure.
So basically, impact investors, they specifically look for companies that are trying to, solve social or environmental problems. They want their money to actually make a difference.
Oh, that's really cool. Like investing with a purpose.
Exactly. The excerpt actually highlights this venture capital firm that focuses on funding startups that are developing renewable energy technologies, things like that.
That's amazing. So using money to actually fund positive change, not just, another shopping mall or whatever.
Right. And the excerpt really emphasizes that this kind of mindset, prioritizing impact alongside profit, it can have a ripple effect. It's not just about individual actions. It's about creating a whole new standard for, what it means to be successful.
I love that. So it's instead of just focusing on the bottom line, companies start competing to be like the most ethical or the most sustainable? That would be pretty awesome.
It would. It would really change things. And the excerpt argues that this kind of transformation, it wouldn't just benefit society as a whole, it would also lead to, more fulfilling lives for individuals.
Right, because at the end of the day, what's the point of all this financial success if it comes at the expense of, like, everything else that matters? Like, I think the excerpt is saying that true wealth is about more than just money.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. Like, it talks about aligning your financial goals with your values.
Yeah.
Using your resources to support causes you believe in. That can bring a sense of purpose that goes way beyond material possessions.
So we're really talking about, like, a whole different way of thinking about wealth, right?
Right.
It's not just about having more and more. It's about using what you have to make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. The excerpt, it really challenges us to rethink our definition of success. Like, is it really just about how much money you have? Or is it about, the impact you make, the legacy you leave behind?
Yeah, that's a good question. The excerpt actually tells this story about a philanthropist who they decided to give away most of their fortune to fund educational programs for kids who wouldn't have access otherwise. And they said that real wealth wasn't about what they owned. It was about the lives they were able to touch.
That's a powerful story, and it really illustrates that idea of, aligning your financial choices with your values. The excerpt argues that when you use your resources to make a real difference in people's lives, you create a legacy that, that lasts way beyond your own lifetime.
Makes you wonder, like, what kind of legacy do most people want to leave behind? Do they want to be remembered for, how much money they made? Or for the good they did in the world?
It's a question we should all ask ourselves. And the excerpt reminds us that, we all have the power to make a difference, no matter how much money we have. It encourages us to think about the choices we make every day and how those choices can contribute to, to a better world.
So to kind of bring it all back, if money could actually have a conscience, what would it do? What would it choose to support?
Well, if money had a conscience, I think it would invest in compassion. It would choose sustainability. It would support businesses that treat their employees fairly, that try to protect the environment. It would definitely put people and the planet ahead of short-term profits. But, at the end of the day, money doesn't have a conscience. We do.
So it all comes back to us, the choices we make.
Exactly. Every dollar we spend, every investment we make, every donation, it's all a chance to put our values into action.
So the next time you're, about to buy something or make an investment, think about it. What kind of impact do you want to make? What kind of world do you want to help build?
Those are the questions that matter. And even if we can't always see the immediate results of our choices, we can be sure that every step we take towards a more ethical use of money, it's a step in the right direction.
That's a great note to end on. We hope this deep dive has given you some things to think about and maybe even inspired you to use your own money as a force for good. Thanks for joining us.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.